You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You're in a high-pressure sales situation and the salesperson is just a little too pushy, a little too intense. But when does a tough sales pitch cross a line and become something else? Something illegal? Well, today we're going to talk about that exact line in the sand.
So where is that line really? At what point does a persistent, maybe even clever sales pitch turn into straight-up exploitation? It can feel like a really blurry area. But you know what? The law has actually worked pretty hard to define it. And honestly, the best way to understand it is to look at a real story. So, to really get this, we're going to dive into a real-world case. And it all starts with something simple, something we've all heard, a knock at the door. Okay, let's paint the picture. You've got a salesperson from a company called Lux Distributors going door to door. And the customers we're talking about here are several elderly women, many of them living on their own. Now, the tactics used here, well, they went way beyond just a simple sales pitch. See, the salesperson would often get into the house by saying they were there for a free maintenance check. But once they were inside, boom, they'd launch into these super long, really high-pressure demos. They were deliberately taking advantage of the homeowner's politeness, their isolation, and sometimes even their physical frailties, all to make a sale. I mean, just hearing that, it just feels wrong, doesn't it? It feels predatory. But the really important legal question the court had to answer was this. Is it actually illegal, or is it just a case of someone driving a very, very hard bargain? And that brings us to the moment the legal system stepped in. They didn't just answer the question. They drew a really clear line in the sand for everybody. And the legal principle that answers our question is called unconscionable conduct. This isn't just about being a little unfair. The key phrase here is that the behavior so seriously offends good conscience that it becomes illegal. Think about that. It's a moral standard written directly into our consumer law. And hey, this isn't some dusty old legal theory. It was cemented in Australian law by the very case we've been talking about, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission versus Lux Distributors. This landmark decision came down from the federal court in 2013. And let me tell you, it sent a huge message about the kind of behavior that's expected and not expected in the marketplace.
So this whole idea of offending good conscience, it's a really powerful legal concept. But what does it actually look like in the real world?
Okay, this right here is the crucial difference. On one side, you've got hard bargaining. It's legal, it can be aggressive, it can be tough, but hey, that's part of business. But on the other side, you have unconscionable conduct. And that's when the line is crossed. You go from negotiation to illegal exploitation that it shocks the conscience.
This quote from the court's judgment, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it all. The court wasn't just looking at the act of selling a vacuum cleaner. It was looking at the intent, that predatory state of mind. It's about knowingly targeting and victimizing someone you know is in a position of weakness.
It's also really important not to mix this up with similar legal ideas. Things like undue influence or duress. They're more about actively forcing someone to do something, basically overriding their free will. Unconscionable conduct is a little different. It's about spotting a vulnerability that's already there, what the law calls a special disadvantage, and then deliberately exploiting it.
So, what does all of this actually mean for us, for regular consumers? Well, in practice, this principle acts as a really powerful legal shield.
So if you boil the Lux principle right down, it's this. If a business practice targets vulnerable people, goes way beyond a tough negotiation, and is basically morally wrong, then it's unlawful. Simple as that. You can almost think of it as a four-part test for basic decency in business.
And this isn't just a suggestion from a judge or a guideline. This protection is written, black and white, right into our laws. It's specifically in Section 21 of the Australian Consumer Law, which gives it real teeth. So why does the case about vacuum cleaners from 2013 matter so much today? Well, because it sets a legal standard for commercial decency. It sends a super clear message that the marketplace can't just be the Wild West. The law will step in to protect the people who are most at risk.
Which, of course, leaves us with this final, massive question. The Lux case was about a simple knock on a door. But today, we're dealing with complex online marketing funnels, algorithms we don't understand, pages and pages of digital fine print. So the question is more important than ever. In this crazy modern world, where exactly should we draw that line to protect the vulnerable?